Hi, my name's Leonie and I'm going to show you some really basic techniques using our distress inks. The first 4 segments of this little series of educational clips are just going to be about stamping. So choose your stamp, get whatever stamp you want. I'm going to go for a really nice big background stamp because it gives me loads of variations. It's a really old stamp now, so nice and well worn and obviously nice and mucky. So I've got my stamp that I'm going to be using, and then of course the distress inks. Okay, distress inks, my favourite ink pad ever. You've got so many colours now that you can choose from. I'd suggest if you've never used distress inks before, just go for about 2 or 3 that are your favourite colours. It's nice if they blend together because obviously you're going to get more uses out of them. Okay, we're really going to go basic first of all. So just stamping. Distress inks, obviously loads you can do with them, but just stamping, obviously you can still use them for that. What we're going to do is take one of the colours. This is Rusty Hinge, and we're just going to apply a bit of ink over there, and then we'll take one of the other colours, and I want something that there's a bit of a contrast, so I'm going to go for a purple. So this one is my Dusty Concord, and I'm just going to stamp. I'm not being careful where I'm stamping, just stamping over the top there. So some of them are going to blend. Take your piece of paper. I'm working on a craft sheet, so it doesn't matter where I get the ink, and then I'm just going to apply the stamp. Put a bit of pressure on there, so you're making sure you get the full stamped image. My card's slightly too big, but again, that doesn't matter. And then what you'll see are the colours actually blending together, so you've got that really nice blend of colour tones from the purple over to the Rusty Hinge. Now that's just basic stamping, so again you can do your basic stamping with your distress. The next thing we can do, taking exactly the same colours, and we're just going to do the same thing, but this time rather than stamping directly on, so again we're putting our Rusty Hinge, and then take my Dusty Concord and just stamping over the top, and then we're going to get our spritzer. Now this is just water, so it's just water in the spritzer bottle, and what we're actually going to do, and I'm going to have to lift this up because otherwise I'll spritz over everything. All you need to do is hold your stamp and make sure with your water spritzer you're going to get a nice mist of spray over that stamp. So you're literally wetting the ink on the stamp, which allows you to create a really nice watercolour effect. Check your stamp, make sure you've actually got that nice and wet, and then again apply the ink. So all you're doing again is stamping. I'll show you the difference because I like the way it blends those colours in and gives you that really nice watercolour effect. I'm just going to use a heat gun, dry that off a bit. You can of course allow it to dry naturally, which looks beautiful, but just to show you how effective that looks straight away, we'll use the heat gun. The heat gun I'm using is a really nice gentle heat gun, so again it will give you that gentle finish. Now have a look at this, look at the difference. So with this one you've got the colours. This one you've got a little bit of pitting where the actual distress ink's still wet, but with this one the colours, can you see how the colours have blended together with the water, so you've got that beautiful watercoloured effect. So that's 2 ways so far of using our inks with the stamping. The next one that we're going to do, and this is possibly my favourite because it's a bit muckier. So you've got your Rusty Hinge again just apply them. What I should have done really was dry off my stamp because obviously it's still got a bit of water on there, but it's not an issue. So just putting my ink on, and now we're going to stamp on the cardstock again. So this time when I apply the ink, what I'm going to do is put my water straight on it. So I've applied the ink. Because this is a distress ink, it reacts with water. And I love this because the colours really bleed out. Now I like to leave this to dry natural. If you let it dry natural, you don't chase the colour. When you use your heat gun, you blend the colours out. So sometimes actually forcing it to dry quicker, you'll sort of get veins of colour, whereas this, if you let it dry naturally, you get a beautiful faded effect. But just to show you what it looks like, see some of your images just disappear, so you get sort of shadows of the images. I really like that. That's one of my favourite techniques. It makes a beautiful background. And again, play with your different stamps. It could be any stamp that you do that with. I'm not going to dry it completely just to show you, but have a look. You've just got, can you see how you've just got tiny bits of the image left? If there's any puddles, then you can just take them with your kitchen paper or a towel. So just going to put that on and blot out any excess colour. So you've just got shadows of the actual stamped images, and then the ink bleeds beautifully. Now that's your third one. The last one in this little segment is taking my stamp. This time I will dry my stamp off because this time I want to do some blending. If you've seen distress inks, I know new people are finding distress inks all the time, which is why I wanted to do this. Because every time I do demonstrations when you use distress inks, there's so many people who find distress inks all the time. And these are just your basics. So this time what I'm going to do is blend the ink. So I've inked it up. Now it's a really wet ink, so you've got a bit of play time with it. To do my blending, I'm going to use my blending tool. Now it's up to you. You can use a blending tool or you can use cut and dry. Both are on my website, so it's up to you which you use. Personal preference. In fact, for this demonstration, I'm going to use my cut and dry. Cut and dry is fabulous. It comes in an A4 sheet and it is washable, which is really handy. I'll show you something else you can do with cut and dry as well throughout these little segments. But what I'm going to do is do the stamping. That is still nice and wet. The distress inks, because it is a water, you'll probably be able to see the ink on the stamp there. Really nice wet ink. So it means when we do our stamping, because that ink's wet, we'll actually be able to use it for blending. So take your cut and dry, and with the ink that we've just stamped, do your blending. And this will give you, again, it gives you that faded look, it gives you that distressed look. The images aren't too, they're not too bold when you do it this way. You can even, look how they just distress out, and that's with the ink that you've used, so you don't need any extra ink. You can even pick up the ink off the actual stamp and carry on blending with the ink off the stamp. So don't waste anything. That is a true tight crafter, isn't it? So again, picking up the ink off the stamp, and we're just blending that round the card. Now we are going to do another section with distress inks doing background effects, and that in that one we'll definitely go into blending more. But just as a stamp, look at that. See how we've got a fantastic background effect just with the ink that we've stamped up. The cardstock you use is important. If your cardstock is too porous and a cheaper cardstock, you won't get a good blended effect. So make sure you have a play with different cardstocks and get the right one. But for a background effect, isn't that fabulous? And then that's ready to embellish, to put some beautiful words on that one. That's 4 easy techniques. So you've got your blending, you've got your spritzing to create that. I love that. To create all those beautiful blended effects. You've got your watercolouring on the actual stamp, and then you've just got your straight stamping. Distress inks are so versatile. That stamping, the next segment we're going to do is all background. So do join us then for some more techniques from